Hey guys! So today we're going to learn about a 12-bar blues, kind of like what I talked about before. Let me write it out for you so you know exactly how it's spelled and how it looks. 12-bar blues. And specifically, we are going to learn a 12-bar blues in the key of A. So 12-bar blues in A. A 12-bar blues, so the word bar is just another word for measure, and it means that there are 12 measures in this chord progression. When I say chord progression, it just means a set of chords that go together. So the song that you just wrote and turned in on Monday, that was, you basically created your own chord progression because chords progressed through a song. So this is a chord progression, and it just uses these three chords that we went over in the last video. So you just learned A7 and E7 today. You already know D7, and those are the only three chords that you're going to be using in a 12-bar blues. And this is how the 12-bar blues goes. So because it's called a 12-bar blues in A, that means that the A chord, or the note A, is going to be our home note. It's the one that we always come back to. Notice how we'll end every line on the 12-bar blues on the A7 chord. This chord is played super often in the 12-bar blues. Obviously, you can see for 8 out of the 12 bars, we're playing A7. So A, that's why we call it 12-bar blues in A, because A is our home note. This is how it sounds. I'm going to play 4 strums for each measure, so follow along carefully. Pretty simple, right? So that's what a 12-bar blues sounds like. Now, 12-bar blues isn't always played in the key of A. In fact, a 12-bar blues can be played in any key, which means it can start on any note. So remember how our musical alphabet is just A through G. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then when we get to G, it starts over again at A. So it's like this on piano notes or when you're playing scales. So we're just A through G, and then it repeats over and over again. So these are like our musical notes. So if we start on A, and this is our home note, note 1, or chord 1, then a D would be chord 4, because look carefully, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then E would be 5. So in this chord progression we were just playing, where we have A7, D7, and E7 are our chords, we call A7 the 1 chord, D7 the 4 chord, and E7 the 5 chord. We use Roman numerals to help with this, to use in this system. So remember that a V in Roman numerals represents a 5. And when you have a 1 before the V, that means that you're subtracting 1. So a 1V is 4. So these are just the Roman numerals that you need to know for now. If you're curious, 2 and 3 look like that are in between 1 and 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how those look. So we have a 1 chord, 4 chord, and 5 chord, which means that our home note is always, 1 is always our home note, and then 4 and 5. So we can take this blues, this 12-bar blues, and we can start it on any note. So what if we started it on G, and G was our home note instead of A? So if we started it on G, and G was now our home note, so note number 1, Roman numeral 1, then what would our 4 be? So we would count 1, 2, 3, 4, and C would be our 4 chord, and then D would be 5. So you could take the same exact progression that we just played before, and instead of starting on A, you could start on G, and it would be G all the way up here, and then C, and then back to G, and then D, C, G. So maybe that's a little confusing right now, but that's okay. We're basically just transposing into different, or you could say translating, like into different keys or like different musical languages. So starting on a different note instead. You could also start on, what if you wanted to start on C? So what if C was our note 1? I'm going to cross these out so we don't get all confused. If C was 1, then C, D, E, F. F is note 4, or Roman numeral 4. And then that makes G 5, because 4 is right next to 5. So you can basically create this 12-bar blues in any key that you want. Right now, since we know these chords, we're going to play it in A. So for your homework today, you're just going to record yourself playing on a video the 12-bar blues in A. And this is what it's going to look like. Just do 4 strums on each measure, just like this. I'll make sure to post this picture in Canvas. Use a metronome. 80 beats per minute is good. You can go faster if you want, but make sure you're not hesitating between chords. And then make sure I can see your hands. I need to see your hands. So you don't have to show your face if you don't want to, but I do need to see both your hands so I can see what you're playing. So this is how you're playing a 12-bar blues. If you have any questions, please let me know.